Designated Survivor Episode 11 Warriors. Now we're finally back after a super long break for the series, but this is a good one. Honestly, it started with a big surprise for me. I really didn't think they'd actually get the president. I was like, okay, someone else is going to be hit. I wasn't sure if anyone was going to die. They, of course that was like the point, was to try to kill, the president so McLeish could take over. But I was like, I don't know if it wasn't going to end up being Kirkman, then if someone else was hit, would they die or would they just be injured? I wasn't really sure. And then I was like, okay, so his wife got hit. That's what it looked like anyway. Like, as soon as he tackled her down, it looked like she had already been hit. And then she's like, that's not my blood. And I was like, huh, didn't see that coming. They actually got the president. And of course, he ends up being fine. It's through and through. They had to do a bit of surgery because of like some, I believe they said, like, bits of it kind of separated. But everything was fine. By the end of the episode, he's up and he's waving and getting the country back on track. But I was really surprised in the opening. I was like, huh, they actually got their target. They just didn't end up killing him. And they got him pretty close. I mean, that was like, it ended up being through and through. But I was like, ooh, that's not a good place to be shot. Like, upper chest region is real bad. Either side, your heart might be on one side, but just this whole area is not good to be shot in. So I was like, okay, that was a bit more serious than I was expecting. And fortunately, things didn't go too crazy outside of the fact that McLeish was able to, seemingly, we don't know 100% if this was actually the guy that shot the gun or not, because they never actually show it. They just say, like, we believe we caught the guy and we have him trapped. That was it. They don't actually show us the character or anything like that. So that could have been a totally different person. And he thinks, like, okay, shoot to kill order. He does that. They execute this person. But we don't ever see the body or anything like that. So we just have to assume at this point, just like McLeish is doing, that the person that was killed was the guy that took the shot. But we don't really know that for sure. Like, there was never anything shown or anything like that. And I think that's something that they did on purpose, because I don't think it was the same person. I think they'll find out this was maybe just some random dude that unfortunately got blamed for shooting at the president, and that random guy is dead now. But that could be the case. It's possible that it's not, because, like I said, whenever something in TV is not shown to me, I'm just like, I just can't take it based on people's words in the show, because they didn't know 100%. They just assumed that that was the right person. And so McLeish is like, take him out, nothing that leads back to me being a part of this secret organization or anything like that. So I'm excited to see if that was truly the case, or if they just killed someone random and that guy actually is still out there as a lead for, different characters to utilize against McLeish. So I thought that was interesting. He's making all sorts of crazy choices, like, no, let's, plummet the economy, leave stocks open, and all sorts of just terrible decisions. So that was interesting. And of course, with him being president, it's like, it's his order above all else. And he was good at covering his tracks. He's like, no, we need to show people that, there's confidence that things will be fine and stuff like that. And I thought it was good. I was like, okay, he's definitely got a way to make it believable, where he's like, I don't believe that because I feel like it'll be this way. Or going against Kirkman's advice, where he's like, that's why we, took in Al-Nassar. I'm forgetting. It's been a long time and I'm already bad with names, so I'm forgetting a lot of the character names. But like the former terrorist. And I was like, that's why we took him in alive. And he's just like, I don't believe that. And I'm like, what's really that for you? You weren't even in the show at that point. So, he's making up all these random reasons just to kind of get his organization in line. And they're hoping, of course, that Kirkman ends up dying. But things play out, fortunately, for Kirkman, where he ends up surviving. And he gets a bit of extra information by the end of this episode. We finally have it after the whole first half of this season. Everything that this woman has gone through, and sadly I can't remember her name, but Maggie Q, who's awesome, she finally gets her moment to be like, okay, I'm locked up, but here's what you need to know. He sends, basically like his right-hand man, and so she's like, all right, he undid the cuffs and stuff. She hops on his back and is like, find this person, ask him about Catalan. He's able to get that information, and they both end up going to Kirkman to tell him this is what's happening with McLeish. So I'm really excited for what they're going to do for the second half of this season. They even have a promo for the entire second half where Kirkman does believe that McLeish is, a traitor on the inside. Things seem to kind of be looking up for the FBI characters, at least temporarily. We still don't know what's going to happen with the FBI director. He didn't show up in this episode, but he was in the promo. they actually had him at like a grave site, so I don't know what that means. It seemed like he was visiting someone else's tombstone, but there were also other people there, so I don't really know what that means. But he didn't show up in this episode, but things seem to somewhat be going okay because answers are getting to Kirkman where it's like, okay, I officially believe that something's off with McLeish. She even talks to the Republican designated survivor, and he's like, hey, I know we haven't always seen eye to eye, but I need you to watch this guy because something's off. So I thought it was really cool how he, even though he didn't have all the answers, he's like, something is up. Like, something's weird with McLeish, so I have to be cautious of him. So I'm excited to see where they take that. It seems like a lot of information is found out about this organization, and it's tight-knit within this group of characters, and they get closer and closer to the truth. And the end of the promo, I'm pretty sure that was a new scene, but they blow up a different building, which I don't know what the heck that's going to do for the series, but it seemed like they did another attack somewhere else. So not really sure what the heck that's going to mean for the future, but really enjoyed this episode. I was glad that Kirkman finally got the information that he was looking for, and everything seems to be working out for these characters for the most part. Like I said, of course, we have our FBI director who is still being kind of controlled based off of them knowing like, oh, this is where your family lives and this is how we can get to them, and it's really easy to kill your son and your wife. So he's got a lot to worry about, and he's gonna, we'll see how all that stuff plays out. But they still have him, even though they had him do like they had it where he admitted to an attempted murder or murdering the other guy. So there's still stuff with that, like him being at the gravesite. Why was he let out for that sort of deal, or what does that mean? Like, a lot of questions, but really excited for the second half of this season. The truth has to come out about Aaron because he's kind of freaking out. He's like, why am I being investigated? And of course, we know it's not actually him. It was like someone else that used his phone or something like that. So at this point, he's just not in the know, and it's like, why am I being investigated over something? So they kind of have to work through that and learn the truth that someone else was basically using him as a failsafe. So there's a lot that the characters have to learn themselves, but this is a really good episode. It was good to finally have the show come back. It felt weird watching it because I was like, man, it's been forever since this show has been on. So it was good to have the show come back. Really good episode. Fortunately, nothing too crazy happened. It wasn't like a life or death situation like it tends to be. Well, I guess technically it was because Kirkman was shot. But it wasn't super crazy like it normally is. It was just finally some answers are getting put out there. Kirkman himself is getting some of these answers. And that was really good to see because it's been building up to this moment. And now that he's finally getting this information, we get to see how he works with that, especially now that McLeish is his vice president. That was like the whole point, was like, please don't let him even, be allowed to possibly become vice president. So there is a lot to that, and now it's happened. We just got to see how does he correct it from there. So I'm excited for where they're headed, of course. Would love to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts or least favorite parts. And I would love to know how you guys feel about the way this episode played out. Like, ultimately, McLeish is still vice president. Kirkman is still alive, so the plan didn't fully fail. They even referenced it. It was like, we didn't kill Kirkman, but you are the vice president. That is a huge step. So there's still something to that. So I would love to know how you guys felt about the way things played out in this episode, with characters, finally being able to get things to Kirkman. He finally gets the truth. So, like I said, we got to see where it heads. But we'll let you know how you guys felt about the way the story played out in this episode. And, just some of the little things that you thought about it in general. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And, of course, thanks for watching.